Miami, 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 Miami. It feel like Miami.
Welcome to the Heat Beat Podcast. I'm back after Siobhan and Brian held it down for me. With me today, we have a reality check master, Tiffany Meeks. What's up, Tiff? Welcome back.
Hey guys, long time no see.
Long time no take. Tiff's back. We're talking about fun, interesting things today. On the bottom of the screen, the great Siobhan. Siobhan, what's up?
What's up? Good evening. Hey G. Hey Tiff. Hey people.
What's up? What's up?
Doing? What's up to chat? What's up to Heat Nation? What's up to Dolphins Nation? Even though they hate me today,
They should.
They should hate me. Listen, I think understand that when we're losing by a lot of points, and there's nothing really to talk about. I'm in a troll. Okay, we've been through this. I've been around Twitter since 2011. We should know the drill by now. Shout out to Alfredo. Alfredo's a good dude. I got him mad. You know it's all love, man. I love you, Dolphins Twitter. Even though I haven't watched a snap. Tiff, I got these people were really angry at me. I've watched like 5 snaps of football outside of the Super Bowl in the last like 3 years, and like they were all like the end of that Jags Dolphins game, which was a horrible game. So I gotta be nicer, but shout out to Miami football Twitter.
You know how you get mad at Heat fans that don't watch shit, but like
Right.
he has a lot to say.
Yeah, well that's the bit.
That's G.
Yeah, that's the bit. That's the point. You know what I mean? Like I always say, like I'm not a sports fan. I'm an NBA, soccer, and tennis fan. I don't like the other sports. I pretend to.
You don't like half the NBA.
Right.
I don't. I hate watch. Listen,
we mean half the NBA. You don't like.
I go through phases because, like, when I was in high school, I was a mega super hater, and then, like, after the big 3, I became like utopian basketball guy that like I love everyone. Everyone's cool. I'm just here for hoops. And I don't know what changed the last like 2-3 years. I'm like, fuck everybody. Fuck you people. Fuck you, Jason Tatum. Fuck you, Julius Randle. Fuck you, James Harden. Fuck you, Chris Middleton. It's just like it's a machine gun of hatred. That's kind of it right now. Shout out to Magui for the Twitch Prime. We appreciate that. If you don't know, if you have Amazon Prime, you get a free Twitch subscription. So I put that link down in chat to support us. I did not know that you get 10% off Whole Foods if you're an Amazon Prime member. So that was a delightful surprise today.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, you do.
I don't shop at Whole Foods, but I sometimes I like their tomatoes more than Publix. So I did a little. Yeah, exactly. I'm not of that life, Tiff. I'm a working class person. I go to Publix like the rest of us schmucks down here. Guys, we have a ton to get to today. The Heat are in a mini disarray. I don't know whether to call it that or not because they've had injuries. But for the purposes of today's show, I wanted to talk about how are the Heat kind of tactically managing the loss of Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler to a lesser extent, but more Bam, right, Tiff? So I think the first thing that jumps out is Spo doesn't trust Yurt very much. And as a result, they're going a lot of super small lineups with PJ at center, with Caleb sometimes at center, with KZ Okpala at center. And I think that's been, the biggest and I think the most logical first step in this post-Bam morning, right? Like, I think that's kind of been where this starts, and I think that has to be where this conversation takes off, is those super small lineups.
I mean, I saw somebody on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, talking about Spo refuses to go big. I feel like a lot of people don't really understand who we have on our team. It's not a refusal to go big. We don't have it. We got Deadman, who's big, and we got Yurt, who's big. Everybody else is pretty much average NBA size. And then you got Dedmon starting. And you led off with saying that Spo doesn't trust Yurt. So then where does that leave you? So for me personally, that leaves you with gang rebounding. That's where it leaves you. You got to send, realistically, if you're playing a team who likes to get out and run, I'm sending 4 to the glass and I'm dropping 1 back. Like, you got to have somebody back on defense, but realistically, you got to send 4 to the glass. That's just what it is. And this is what we were doing even with Bam. We were still gang rebounding. I think people forget that Bam wasn't, even though Bam was in double digits, he wasn't on the boards by himself. Everybody was getting boards. PJ would get 7. Tyler would come in and grab 6. Jimmy would grab 7. So they were still gang rebounding. I like the fact that people want to all of a sudden think because Bam is out that we can no longer rebound. Rebounding is about position and effort. So we just got to get back to those basic fundamentals, and you got to get people playing a tick harder. That's really it. That's all. That's what you got to do.
Shout out to the homie, the GOAT, Royal Shepherd in chat. Says get B.I. or Karis. Those are Siobhan's boys.
Royal.
Siobhan,
Hi, G.
kind of to Tiff's point as well, like, I think the Bam knee stuff is legit, and he wasn't even rebounding well, right, when they were healthy. And I think a big lineup for them is Dedmon, Keith, Bam, Keith, which, to Spo's credit, they were doing, much to my dismay. They were doing that, and it was working, and I had to eat a whole lot of G was wrong. But Bond, like, they don't have a lot of the personnel to do that, especially if Spo's is going to be like, man, I don't trust Yurt. Like, the house is burning, and I go to UD before I go to Yurt, which is like,
Yeah.
funny.
No, you're right. So Bam, that knee stuff, that's real. Tendonitis, it doesn't go away. The best that you can do for it is give it, some good chunks of rest. And so this thumb thing is a thing, but he's being able to rest his lower half too. Tiff is right that, like, with this team being average to closer at some positions to the undersized category, they have not many options but to gain rebounding. Yeah, that is what we saw in the first few games. Keith being out does a lot to that.
Yep.
And like you said, the biggest we've seen Spo be willing to go, but be able to go, to your point, Tiff, just based off what's available to him personnel wise, has been Keith Dedmon. And I liked a lot of those lineups. I really, really like the Keith Dedmon high-low, especially when teams go zone. The middle part is the soft belly to get into. But yeah, that is your size. That is your big. And with Keith not being there, Dedmon's big, not super athletic. Yurt is just large and just hasn't come into himself, hasn't grown into a big right. He's a project, right? And so I think what you see with the PJs at the 5 and now Caleb's at the 4 is the hope and prayer that PJ and that big body can get some leverage and box some of these dudes out. And Caleb is your only piece of athleticism, so that he's springy. He can get up and go get them, but and in the same kind of fashion that Tyler does rebounding wise. And so that is, that's what you're left with. Like you said, big for them is Bam and Keith or Bam and Dedmon, and 2 of that 3 is out. And so this is where we are currently.
So a lot of chat, and by the way, they're asking like for Redacted to come back, which Redacted is not helping you on the boards. My dude saw
No, so regardless of the other stuff, he's not even let's not even talk about the other stuff.
My guy's
right.
Soft as fuck.
He's not getting in there.
Yeah. So like let's not even like discuss, and like just apart from the PR and Mickey Harrison is Jewish and all that. Like,
yeah, it ain't happening.
I mean, like the TMZ's like asked Pat Riley like about him, and Pat looked at the camera and literally goes, "Who?" Because like did you see that video? That shit was hilarious. But they've been in a weird situation because Keith obviously has missed about a month to tomorrow. It'll be a month since he's been out. And Bam went down, right? So they had a legit three-man center rotate, like big man rotation. Bam, Keith, Dedmon, and that was really solid. And then you had Yurt, who was a project, and you think that's good enough for the regular season because they wanted to keep the roster spot open. And then that left Michael Potter, out of the mix. It was really so. I know Tiff and Siobhan, you're making that noise. I liked Potter.
I know I did, yeah.
I understand why they went with Caleb as the two-way and Garrett. I think you had to keep Garrett, and I think Caleb has been great. And I would have liked Potter, but you had 3 centers on the roster already, plus Udonis, so that's 4. And if you want to relitigate the Udonis thing, we're not going to do that here, but that by all means is a good point. But so now they're just down a big because like their whole big man rotation, other than Dedmon's out.
Yeah.
Right.
So only have one of that 4.
Right. And you can see why they left Potter out, because they do have 3 proven, they're Keith, Dedmon, Bam. 3 proven guys who can go get you minutes. I think where we're starting to see where it's kind of on the fringe at this point is that like Dedmon is great in spurts.
Yes.
Like if you throw him out there for 5 minutes, boom, 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 take him out. Then let him rest, throw him in for another 4 minutes, boom, 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 take him out.
Same with your wings, that like your scrappy wing group. Max,
those are spurts. They're all spurt
Dedmon
players. Yeah. Right. So they're all spurt players. And the problem is because of the injuries, they're having to get the long-term minutes. Whereas I see it twofold. I see it whereas because their bodies aren't used to getting all this playing time, and also mentally they're not used to it. So we're seeing the struggles. But then when the long-term effect of it would be they'll be ready when called upon once we get further and deeper into the season, you know?
I like this comment here by Ryan. He says, the fact that we've yet to fill the spot suggests there's a plan. If there wasn't something to wait for, we would have filled it now, considering our injuries. And that's the other thing, because I think people are mad at the Heat for not going over the luxury tax. They have a roster spot open for a couple of reasons. A, if they need to convert Caleb, and B, when the buyout market comes, they want a spot ready, and they might have to convert Caleb, cut KZ, and then get a buyout guy.
That's what I was just about to ask you. Is there 2 spots? Because I think that at this point they have to convert Caleb, but there would have to be that other spot would be cutting Casey.
Or Yurt. I doubt they use Yurt. I just think that, at some point.
It's too soon. It's too soon.
I think KZ is kind of a sunk cost at this point, and if he becomes good somewhere else, then so be it. I think that they're trying to win now. So the fact that they haven't spilled the roster spot, I don't think that's a tax thing. I think if a dude becomes available, that if Thad Young gets cut and he's available, that he might be able to offer him a little bit of money. Now, Brian's not here, so I can't give you the cap specifics because there is hard cap stuff because they did sign and trade for Kyle Lowry. So it's not so easy as the fan base makes it. It's just like, I know that, Bond, we were talking about like, can they trade for Karras with Duncan? And like the issue is like with all these trades for Miles Turner, for this, for that, they're up against a hard cap. Yeah. So these trades for salaries bigger than Duncan make things incredibly complicated and then 100% shorten your roster because then you can't add that 15th guy. So there's a lot like in terms of trades, whether because the Pacers that report that they kind of want to blow it up. And even a guy like Harrison Barnes, who I really like, it becomes complicated. At least his contract is declining and expiring next year on the deal. So, that stuff becomes complicated, but kind of on the floor, I get a little bit concerned, Tiff, because, they rely on PJ a lot for really physical, intense minutes.
He's wearing.
Yes.
It's right. It's happening right in front of us.
But they don't. What choice do they have? You know what I mean? No. Like, is it Udonis? Like,
no.
Right. Well, no, they don't. If you want to remain competitive right now, that's the thing. You're basically trying to plug all these different holes in a boat. So if you're trying to remain competitive, no, you got to play PJ. But at the same time, you can see the wear and tear on him right now. Like you're literally watching the last 2 games where he's been taking such abuse down low that you can see it. Everything is starting to slow down for him. Even his cuts off the ball, even his ball handling the other night. I've never seen him like go so slow up the court with the ball. Normally, if he gets the ball, he's trying to go a little bit faster. He's trying to do something. He just
PJ?
looked like he looks a little stuck in mud the last couple of games. I mean, I don't like. Where are you going to go with the bench? Like, how much deeper can we go into the bench? Because
They're playing everybody.
They're playing
It's KZ.
everyone.
Because to
It's
me, KZ is it. So if you, I mean, you know,
I seen that
I mean, it's
movie.
I've
Spoiler
seen that
alert, I
movie
know how it
too. And the calls are coming from inside the house, but but the reality is that, like, for instance, like tomorrow night, they're playing Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Great.
I would
Great.
at this stage I would give KZ a few more minutes
Fuck
Yeah.
it.
just
Why
to
not?
give PJ right at this point. It's like a why not, because what you don't want to happen is the guys that are healthy, that are just tired, you don't want them to get those injuries because they're tired.
Right. But you said it correct. Like they're trying to remain some semblance of competitive right now. And so you have
Right.
to those injuries that you fear from overuse, you kind of have no choice but to like grind those tires down, or else you like it's a sunk ship for real. And then you just hope everybody gets out, swim safely to the next ship when all
Right.
of the people come back.
Right.
Yeah. Gee, you put that comment up. How'd that
Yeah.
make you feel?
So Black Chinny says, why doesn't Spo like playing big when other teams dominate? I mean, it's like you're not even listening. We just talked about that. They don't have anybody big to play. Like, are
We
you
got
listening?
Deadman.
Come on,
Deadman is the
chat.
biggest.
Yeah.
Deadman is the
Yeah.
biggest we got right now. We don't
don't
have.
Yep.
We don't have Keith. We don't have Bam. So and we've already said that he doesn't really trust Yurt. So we are who we thought we were right now.
And
Small.
even our bigs aren't dominating in the sense that I feel Cheney is trying to get at.
Exactly. Like we don't have a
that.
big that's gonna
Yeah.
post up and
We
give
don't
you a
have
hook.
Valanciunas,
Right.
Steven Adams.
Right.
don't
We
have
ain't got no Patrick
Gobert.
Ewing. We don't have any of that. Like, and that's the thing. And that's why I said, like,
Nurkic.
right. But that's the reason why Deadman has been so great for us, because we've been playing him in those spurts
Yeah.
where he goes out really quickly and gives you 6 points and grabs 5 boards.
This is the stuff in chat. Like, I love you, chat. But like, it's like you guys aren't listening. Someone's like, should we have?
Well, we
picked up
didn't have a
DeMarcus
spot.
Cousins? That's what people don't understand. They have a fake 15th roster spot that has to get converted because there's a guy who's like their third in minutes since Bam went down. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like they just can't say, okay, Caleb, good luck somewhere. They need that motherfucker. They don't need a fourth fucking center. So that listen, you guys have to think not in the short term, but in the long term. This team is thinking, how the fuck do we win a championship? Not how do we get through December. Right? They're thinking, how do we win a fucking title? And if we gotta eat some shit in December and early January, and I'm sure that they're saying in that building, okay, this has gone sideways. Our fucking all NBA center has a fucked up hand. Jimmy's ass is broken for the second time. Markieff almost died because this fucking fat Serbian knocked him out. This is bad. However, we can get to 4. If we get healthy, we're better. I mean, Tiff, maybe you guys may disagree. I think they're better than Chicago, and I think they're better than Washington. I don't think Boston's very good. New York obviously sucks. Like, if they're healthy,
if they're 100% healthy, I'll take them over Boston, just because I've already seen the history of. I'll take them.
I'm talking about in the playoffs, not in the regular season.
No, that's that's what I'm talking about. I'll take them over Boston. I'll take them over Washington. I'll take them over Washington.
Chicago will be interesting for me.
Chicago would be interesting, but here's the thing:
Chicago and won.
Well, here's the but
Yes.
yeah, but the key is if they're 100% healthy, that means you got Black Superman coming off the bench. So I'll take them.
Yeah, if we're talking full health, then
If we're talking healthy, I'll take
what I'm saying.
Black Superman coming off the bench, and that's what you got. Yes, that's
Yes.
Oladipo.
I'm
Who
excited
else?
for the Oladipo Tyler off the bench. I don't think we've
So
talked
am
enough
I.
about how
I am
exciting
too.
that
I
is.
am. But that's
Oh,
the
I could
thing.
talk
They got to get through. They got to get through December
I love you,
without
Tiff.
anybody else getting hurt. That's
Yeah.
Well, I
it.
mean,
They got to get through
Caleb's
December.
Caleb
fucking
keeps throwing his.
questionable.
Oh my
Yo,
god, that
Caleb.
dude has
Yo,
to relax.
you know what? I love players that play with reckless abandon.
Like D
But
Wade.
sometimes you gotta
Yes.
measure it. Everybody else has been playing with reckless. Caleb go be reckless. Then
Caleb
what do
needs
we
to start
have?
making business decisions.
Just
No,
sometimes.
but he is making business
He is.
decisions. He trying to make this team, G.
Yeah.
No,
And
he already made
no,
it.
He's gonna make the team.
no,
They
plant Poppy. He can't be Black Panther. That's done. We
No,
don't
we're not doing that.
we won't use that over here. We won't
That's
use
retired.
that.
That's retired.
Yeah,
from,
we retired that. We retired that.
peace,
But good looking out. Good looking out though.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they right on cue,
Right on cue.
right on cue. Every time I start speaking, Siobhan brought up an interesting tweet, and it's a spoke quote. When Bam out, with Jimmy out, I have to do a better job of getting the team organized and getting the team comfortable where the ball is going and how we want to play offensively. I definitely need to do a better job. So Coach Spo held himself accountable before Alex Toledo did. So just kind of
Shame.
just putting that out there. Which listen, I their half court offense. I'm gonna say something maybe a little blasphemous, maybe not totally fair to Spo. Their half court offense, outside of the 1 year where they were 7th because nobody could guard Duncan and he was kind of historic. They've not been a half court offense since about the Chris Bosh, D Wade, Luol Deng year.
It's not
And
blasphemous.
part of that is they just haven't had dudes outside of Dion Waiters and Goran that could get to the basket. I think Spo's done as good of a job as you can hope, but I think that there is a little stubbornness. I think that their offensive system is very rigid, and he's, to Spo's credit, and I see you guys nodding, but like, to Spo's credit, in the big three, it was a heavy pick and roll team. And when they left, they really slowed it down. It was a little bit more ball movement. And then they went right back to heavy pick and roll with Dwayne and Joe Johnson and all that stuff. And then when Dion was here, they went to a more dribble handoff centric offense, more motion, more cutting, more shooting, more stuff like that. So he's changed depending on his roster. So, I think that that's really great. And I think it's good that he's like, okay, like, our team's not good enough right now. And part of that's on me. So I think you like to hear that from your coach. I don't know how much he can do, but I think there are things that he should answer.
I think so. And so what you just said and his the end part of his quote are the things that are interesting to me, right? He been able to adjust to his roster and to what's available to him. He said, I have to do a better job in getting them organized and knowing where the ball is going. So I want to know where he believes that the ball needs to be going with this group. And so I'm personally like looking forward to see what he schemes up, what he puts together, because like you said, being able to be malleable based on your roster is a good thing. But with this current roster construction, where is it that he feels like the ball needs to be going so that they don't stagnate, so that they, don't go through these droughts without offense. So I thought the whole thing was interesting. I love media, players, coaches. And like, I just love people being able to like, I was wrong, or I fucked up, or I have to do better, anything in that universe of thing. And so like I said, I'm interested to see where is the ball going to be going to.
Right. It's interesting because I think that I also think that like it's funny because I read that when you sent that to us, and then I read it again. I also just kind of wonder if he hasn't also come back from his quote unquote shockness of what's happening.
Okay.
Because it seems like if you look at how everything went down with all these injuries, these weren't just kind of like injuries that you could foresee. These were things that just kind of like popped up. So I wonder also if he just fully hasn't adjusted himself yet.
And because, the injuries haven't been to any of the fringe players either. Even like Tyler's injury. Tyler was
that's what I'm saying.
Significant, yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So I also wonder, like, for me personally, I kind of feel like maybe this is the mind meld moment where you need Kyle and Spo to have a good sit down
Yeah.
and
Well,
say, this is, I need you to run this offense, and I need you to run this offense fully. Because we're not getting anything accomplished without Kyle being Kyle on the floor right now.
Yep.
Because he's gonna have to make all those decisions. And like I don't see enough of him like getting the ball to Deadman when Deadman's trailing him. Like he'll do it every now and then in the game, but it's there, and let him shoot it. At this point, we got to be in that why not phase. He's wide open. He's a decent shooter. He's one of the better shooters on the team.
Yes.
From three at this point. Like, I mean, he's only taken maybe seven. So what?
Right.
But listen,
Kyle has
let him.
5 for 7.
Right, but go ahead, G.
No, he has I think 40 3-point makes on the season.
No. I'm talking about
Deadman.
Deadman.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
You know when Deadman's the trailer and Kyle hits him for the 3 or for the 15-foot jumper, let Kyle start making those decisions, especially when there's no Jimmy, there's no Bam. He's going to have to start reading the floor and figuring out where the ball needs to go. And also at this point, we always complain that he talks a lot. He needs to stop talking to the refs. Now start talking to the players. Get them in the right spots.
Yep.
Yep.
He needs to be maestroing. Tiff, you and I, you said to me the other day when Kyle was playing really well. I know Jimmy keeps hurting his ass, but like when he's here and is healthy, it's time for Jimmy to come off of the ball and to come off of it and like long enough spurts so that Kyle is able to move and maneuver. And Jimmy, you shouldn't want to, have to handle the ball so much. Like put yourself in easier areas to score and not have to, crab dribble into a turnaround the whole time while there's nothing happening on the whole left side of the floor.
Yep.
With Kyle, and I think, and I said this on Hangover Time yesterday, and despite that being like a really shitty game, I think the positives were Duncan and Kyle played well, and that makes 2 out of the last 3, especially Duncan having a good home game. And even if you get your ass kicked and you're embarrassed, I think that's something that you can build off of, because also, Tyler he had a good game, but not like a super great efficient game.
He was 11 for 19.
No, I'm sorry. That was the game before. I'm sorry. That was the game, the other game yeah. So, you get Kyle playing well, Tyler's been really consistent, Duncan had a better game. And I think that matters more for the long term. Right. And, I think it's fair to say that Kyle has taken a little bit of a step back as a downhill threat. And I've said that a bunch already, like on this pod and on Hangover Time and everything like that's, there's no denying that. He's an incredible finisher. He's finishing 76% at the rim. That's the 94th percentile in the league. An 87% free throw shooter. That's really good and consistent for a team that, sometimes has been up and down. Good from the mid-range, 47%. That's really good. I think he realized that he needs to go to that a little bit more. That little free throw line turnaround is always been a weapon for him.
Yep.
I think they should run a little bit more high pick and roll for him. Right? Some of their empty side stuff that I think is really good. And now that Duncan's scoring a little more, kind of shooting a little better. And Siobhan, I think Duncan's learning how to cut off Lowry. And maybe those games where those two were the only focal point of the offense helped them a little bit. I know he missed that back cut early in the game yesterday, but he's doing it more often, and Kyle's finding him quicker. Yeah. And I think that's an important development for them that I would keep an eye on.
Yeah, Duncan's shooting struggles have been, well documented. They are what they've been. But I have liked the games where he has looked to do other things, to diversify, to get himself open. Duncan's been a decent back cutter since last season. It's not something that he just doesn't do or won't. I just want him to recognize it and do it a bit more. But I also don't think we've said, I know Tiff and I a few times, like the games where Duncan is one of the primary focuses tend to be his better games. Like those are the ones where he comes alive and feels like, or at least it feels like to me that he's playing better, shooting better, is more active or whatever. And so, yeah, the Duncan Kyle heavy games, and them being the focal points of the heavy offense. Those games are good. And is probably what is going to be needed to buoy them through this stretch. It always, for me, comes back to, okay, now how do we make sure that these things transfer when the rest of the team is here? Is Kyle still going to look to get to the cup when Jimmy is back, when Bam is back? Is Bam going to keep doing the things that he does aggressively with the rest of them? I think when a couple of them is out, like, the team success isn't great, but the remaining individuals kind of get their thing going. It has to meld all of it together.
Siobhan, also your point about kind of getting Jimmy off the ball. So total
That
pick
was
and
Tiff.
roll. That was Tiff. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. She
Total
said it to me.
total pick and roll. It sounds like something you would say though. You guys are hive mind though. Total pick and roll possessions on the year. Tyler leads with 166. Kyle second place with 87, and Jimmy's third with 84. Now, I think the important thing is that
Is that as the handler?
yes, that Jimmy has played 18 games and Kyle's played 23. So Kyle's played way more games than Jimmy and is only up 3 more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Right. So
that,
it is a huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that I think that you guys are right. They got to kind of and Kyle's not been great, right? He's 0.89 points per possession as a handler. That's the 62nd percentile. Not great. Part of that is their spacing, and I think that they've been hurt because PJ has shot lights out, which has been really, really great. Has cooled down a little bit since a super hot start. Still shooting well. Obviously, Caleb, not a good shooter. Duncan has really struggled. Tyler's been really their only catch and shoot threat that other than PJ that's been legit, Jimmy. So they have some spacing issues to work out, but I think as guys like Duncan get a little bit better, if they add Oladipo, who's a really good cutter and a really active athlete, they could get some cool movement and things. I expect that number to go up. But he has to play better. He needs to shoot better, and I think the decision making.
Kyle?
Kyle,
Duncan?
yeah,
Okay, Kyle.
Kyle. I think Duncan is shooting better. I think
Yeah.
he's like turning a corner. I don't think it's going to be like one day he's going to shoot 40% out of nowhere. It's going to be a gradual, and I think that he's kind of taken that task already. Kyle has been, I think, more up and down as a shooter. He's very feast or famine. He's either like fucking 6 for 7 or he's 1 for 9. Right? It's really frustrating. But he needs to play better. He needs to shoot better because if he starts shooting a little more, the rest of his game opens up because he's just not going to beat guys off the dribble anymore. And they have negative spacers, and there's just too much help on every drive, whether it's Jimmy, whether it's Kyle. And that's been the theme. They just have not had enough shooting since the finals run. It's just been they have too many negative spacers, and it's too much help coming at these guys that it's not like it's De'Aaron Fox turning the corner on a pick and roll. Jimmy's not fast either. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, these aren't like fucking speedy dudes. It's not, De'Aaron or Lillard or even fucking Curry's probably faster than Jimmy. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they're not, they play the angles and they play with their bodies and they play physical, which lets help come. So if you don't have shooters to kind of swing, kick, right? Because once they pass, right? So when they help from the corner, you pass out to the corner, the help rotates out. That next swing, guess who it is? Caleb for 3. And that's, really where you are. And the help's not going to rotate to Caleb.
Yeah.
They're like, fine, he can take it. And they never rotate to Caleb. So this is kind of the predicament that they're in. If Kyle shoots better, now they have to play him a little higher up off the screen. He can get the step. He can get to the mid-range. He can get to the floater. He can see help a little sooner. So somebody asked, what do they do if they're trap? If they trap, if he's shooting well, the traps are going to be a little more aggressive. You get the slips behind the defense. You can see that quicker. Everything kind of plays off it. And that's why I think sometimes we care too much about shooting. And I'm certainly guilty of that. But I think in the Heat's very specific case, it would just ail, I think, most of their problems. I don't think they're ever going to be a really good half-court offense. They just don't have the downhill pressure. But I do think that they can get to a little bit above average. And I think if their defense is what some people expect it to be, then, we're cooking with oil.
Right. I think also, like, it is a little bit like demoralizing to kind of go from being up here to all of a sudden you've got major injury, major injury, major injury. And
How
we're
could
seeing
you
a lot.
evaluate them? How can you
Right.
realistically
Well, what I was going to say was, if you look at what we have left, we have guys that can do things. The problem is that
It's funny.
good or
but
bad things?
no,
Things.
we have guys that can do good things, but
Hashtag things.
right, hashtag things, but it goes back to what Spo said. He needs to get guys in the right position to where the ball's going. And what might need to happen right now is that we might, which I think he started doing in the last game, there needs to be some different combinations happening now. Because what I started to see in the last game was there were 4 non-shooters and Kyle on the floor. So you can't have that, but you can't have Tyler play 39 minutes. So you have to figure out ways to where you got to get someone who can halfway shoot in these lineups with Kyle, and then also with the bench lineup. You have to figure out. You just got to figure out a way to kind of put a Band-Aid on it, which means that, like, realistically, you also have to figure out how to get Max in different positions, because you really need his shooting. Honestly, you need his scoring. You need his overall game to come through. So he's got to be put in some different positions starting tomorrow, because it's just the bench unit is not going to work when you do have who do we have? We have Gabe, and then we have
Max, Caleb.
Yeah.
Caleb.
Yeah.
Caleb.
Yeah. So right now we may not need to be having these Caleb minutes. We might need to break it up and kind of split them apart a little bit.
So I'm glad that
Whites and Kyle.
I'm glad that
one
you.
of the others.
Yep.
So yesterday, Alf said, "I'm sick of Kyle plus undrafted dudes." And I think
all
that
of them at the same time.
Yeah,
Right.
It's like
It can't be
Kyle plus 4 undrafted guys is like the fucking lineup that I see at the end of every fourth quarter. And I think Alf's right, because that also puts Kyle in a situation where he has to do too much. That's not, he's a quarterback. He's not, you know what I mean? He's not, it's not Aaron Rodgers out there. You know what I mean? He's not gonna kick a bunch of losers, and Aaron is canceled, so not Aaron. Whatever. Most quarterbacks are canceled. I don't even know who's good anymore. Tua.
No, but good. I get what you're saying. He's not gonna drag 4 guys to the finish.
He's not
line.
LeBron.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, they have to figure out ways to sprinkle in these guys in different ways. I also think they got to figure out a way for Deadman to go back to playing spurts. Yes, you're starting, but he's playing way too many minutes at the top.
Well, also, Deadman is playing fewer minutes than Strus in the last 10 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He has played the 10th most minutes in the last 10 games, which is, I think, kind of weird. I think that they should maybe play him a little more.
Well, he's playing heavy, but that's the problem, because he's playing heavy in the beginning. Like, all his minutes seem to be all his minutes seem to be coming earlier in the game, and then by the end, he's nowhere to be found. I'd like to see him in there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's almost Tua is the second best QB in Miami to Lowry, I guess. It's almost like, what are you willing to give up? We've been talking about, like, shitty starts versus having to, like, fight so ferociously at the end to come back. Do you want to get out to a decent enough start, or do you want to ensure that you have the energy and the legs to close well? And they don't have the full complement of their people, and so it is almost like having to choose which one is he more willing to sacrifice based on the lineups and the minutes that it is that he's playing people. You were talking about getting Max in like some better scoring spots. Max's best shooting spot is the left corner. I don't know what needs to happen to help get him there.
Right.
I've seen him, like, shoot a lot more above the breaks, and he can give you like 1 for 5 above the break, or he can give you like 3 in a row and then go cold for 6 minutes. And so I do think that it has to be Kyle and at least 2 spacers But G, you were saying you'd like to see them get Kyle in more high pick and roll. I would like that too. Like, kind of like take up more space on the floor. Like, really spread your wings out. Start your pick and roll motion higher up, past
I
the top of
love
the
when
key.
teams do that.
Yeah, you don't have to start your
Right.
motion like 3 feet right at the line. You have
Right,
all that
right.
space between the line and half court. Utilize
Especially when
some
he's
of
a
that.
pull-up threat, because if he just gets
Yeah.
by a dude, he can pull up from three.
And now you have enough like momentum into the pull up. You have a little bit more legs to you. Dudman has more space on that roll from high up. You can do a flat screen. It doesn't have to be chest to one side. Get them going flat. Like there are some things that I think that they can do and should at least try. Like you said, we're kind of at the like, why not? We gotta
Right.
like try
I'm
some shit.
I like that you said that, Siobhan, because that's 100% like in the Spo lab. So in the Indiana series during the Big Three, one of Spo's biggest adjustments was setting the screen a couple feet outside of the
Yep.
paint, not even to get LeBron a pull up, because you're just like, let's give this huge motherfucker a head of steam.
Downhill.
Good
Yep.
fucking luck. And in the finals a couple years ago, it was Crowder setting flat screens for Jimmy. And that was really a huge adjustment for them. And the Lakers took them 2 games to figure that out. So what you're saying is absolutely true. It's 100% in the Spo bag of fun. So I'm excited. Like, he's a good coach. So like I like this idea of flowing. What you got, Tiff?
Yeah.
So who's gonna get the minutes tomorrow? Is it gonna be Yurt or KZ? Because one of them is gonna have to get minutes.
And he said it himself. Like, between the two of them, one of them is going to give
Maybe
us
both. Maybe both.
Right.
maybe both. Shit, both.
I think Caleb
let's go
probably
with
gets
that.
a start for Butler. I think that.
Yeah.
And I forgot who posted this. Somebody put Tyler's stats as a starter. They're not good. The percentages are not good. And Bon and I talked the other day. It's because he starts for Jimmy, so they go 3 guards, and he gets size on him.
Yep.
And I think
Well, he
size on
gets
Tyler.
He gets the defensive. He's basically gonna get the dog. So the other team is like looking for the best defensive wing and saying, "Go get Tyler."
Because that is
when
their
he
best
starts.
offensive player. So that's where that
That's
attention
fucked
needs
up
to
for
go
Tyler.
to. It
You know what I
is.
mean?
It is.
Like, God damn.
Yeah, but that's and that's the thing where I always say to people, just relax. You look at what happens when he starts. That's 20 plus points that we just don't have coming from the bench.
Nowhere to replicate that.
So
From the
you have no one who can give you anything close to what he gives you. And then he gets into the starting lineup, and then he's getting whoever the best defensive player is on the other team, locking him down. And it's no fault of his own, because he's getting someone usually bigger, stronger, faster.
So
He has
the
been
stats
seeing
are,
more doubles lately, and numbers have gone a little bit back up. I think, like last game, I think he saw a decent amount of like heavy pressure, and I think he had 24, 11 for like 18 or 19. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at Shades Fitty.
Yeah. Jeez. That is cute. But yeah, Tyler in the starting lineup still isn't the answer, and that's not fair to Tyler. He's worked and he's earned kind of
Right.
like this ass 6-man come in wrecking people role. Let him punishing him at this point to make him.
So Tyler has started this season 21.3 points, 5.7 rebounds, 4 assists, 40% field goals, 31.9% from 3.
It's not
So
terrible. It's not terrible.
But the shooting is
no,
the percentage,
30,
right?
the 32 from 3 is bad, and the 40%.
Yeah,
it's
the
'cause he's getting the buckets, just not efficiently, and they're
Right.
losing those games because they're just missing a fuck ton of shots,
Yeah.
and they're
What
not
are his
offensive rebounding.
percentages off the
As a-
bench?
I don't have those specifically, but I know that he's just like shot well for the season and most of the like he's 40% from three and 45% from mid range. Really, really, really. That's on the whole. So
Right.
you know
That-
he's just
his
been
high numbers are really high to be balancing
Right.
out them lows. Yeah.
not a
Right.
good finisher. 55% at the rim has never been a good finisher, and that's
He's
his
gotten
size.
better, though. It looks like he's got his high.
I think he has
touch,
gotten
his
better. I think
touch,
he's gotten better.
I think
He's
gotten
worse.
better.
He's worse than last year. He was 62 last year. He's 55 this year.
I don't know. It feels different.
It looks different.
It looks different. Yeah.
It looks
His
different
touch
because
off the glass.
he's getting to the basket.
Okay. So so is he getting there more and just having to miss more than he was getting there last season?
I think that he's just drawing help sooner because now he's a threat. So while he's probably a better finisher, he's being defended with a little more urgency.
Right.
So,
That makes sense.
Well, and his whole mindset had to change yet again. You know, he was adjusted to coming off the bench and basically running the show. He can do whatever. He has the green light when he comes off the bench. And in the starting lineup, you know, a lot of everything that he does really depends on what Kyle's doing with the ball and whatever position that he finds himself in.
Is there space
Right.
for him to
Right.
So
Just side note, can we just really quickly mention this and I don't really know what happened, but I saw it earlier with CJ McCollum.
yeah,
Can
his
we-
saw that.
collapsed
can you-
lung.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, and we can even look at this from like a heat angle too. It's like that's horrible, right? And on top of everything that's going on, and then there's reports that Lillard wants Ben on the team, Ben Simmons.
Yeah. I
So
saw that.
obviously,
He wants
any
to play
Ben
with-
Simmons deal would involve CJ McCollum to make
Which
money
is
work.
done now. That's done.
kind of out the window. Well, at least for the time
for
being.
now. Yeah.
For now, yeah.
So,
hopefully he gets better. I don't know.
Get well soon.
Yeah.
That, and now this is going to be an interesting time of the league because once we're a couple weeks from Christmas. Once that's done, we're going to be straight into kind of deadline season. Things are going to be ramping up. Huh?
Cases are like popping up. Like
Yeah.
half of Charlotte is out.
Omicron variant. Did you guys see, kind of a small aside, did you see on the news where the biggest concentration of Omicron was? Or not biggest, but there was a
it was at your show, G. It was at your anime.
convention. And the
Anime-con.
the Biden administration had to say, who's at an anime convention? And I just thought that was the second time in 2 weeks that anime had been mentioned in like American politics. And that's just too much.
And they're not the looks.
It's just too much. We gotta stop. We gotta absolutely stop with that.
All
It's
them
just-
damn costumes and y'all don't have masks on.
Right. All those face masks, scarves.
yeah.
Make that shit real.
And
Right,
they had
ninja
a
outfits.
vaccination mandate. I had a friend that went, and they had a vaccine mandate and everything. Just like Art Basel. Even though I've been under the weather, and I went to Basel, and so I'm quarantining. I'm awaiting a COVID test. So stay safe out there, kids.
Hey, Nikias.
Yeah, what's up, Nikias? Nikias should have been at my house right now, but I got sick, so here we are. So yeah, kind of to kind of put a bow on everything. I think, and Bam, by the way, had a successful surgery today. We should have mentioned that at the top. They put a timetable 4 to 6 weeks. I guess I saw somebody say that when they don't find complications in the wrist or anything, they can more adequately provide a timetable. So that puts them a little bit before All-Star break, which is really nice that they get him back. If Markieff comes back, this week, I don't know if it's tomorrow or by the end of the week, kind of going a little more positively, they get a bigger body back. I'm sure that we're going to see a lot of Markieff at center, which they've been really successful. I think they're plus like 10.5 per 100 possessions with Markieff at center. That's really good. He's a really good screener, kind of a two-man game with Kyle. They have a little bit more variance. We don't have to play PJ a million minutes at the 5, right? I don't need to see more. I don't need to see more of that until they're all healthy.
Right.
Maybe against the Nets, you can get away with that, but it's kind of tough when PJ's playing at the 5 and it's one of these big ass Memphis players. So the guy says had to play drop against G. So keep coming back, changes
charge circle.
their calculus a little bit. They get a big back. Hopefully they can get Jimmy back in at least a week's time. And if you can get Jimmy, and if you can get Markieff back, and if you can stay around 500, I think that's a win, guys. I think if they can just hover around 500, kind of stay in striking distance of 4, I think that that's exactly what you want. I think that they should be aiming to be 4 or 5, 3 to 5 in the regular season. I think that's a win for them. And that's kind of where I am after all the X's and O's and all the shit we talked. That's kind of where I am. Tiff?
I am where I am. I mean,
Well, Just Jared asks, is there any news on Keefe? So Greg Sylvander, I'll never call him Greg. I don't know why I said that. Leif of 5 Reasons. I use this man's government name. I tell Leif all the time. Leif and I are good friends. And whenever we talk on the phone or we text, I'm like, I will never call you Greg. I've known you too long. I ain't calling you Greg. You're Leif to me forever. So Leif, shout out to Leif, reported that, probably this week. And then Ethan Skolnick of 5 Reasons kind of corroborated that reporting. Our blue check mark homies over there. So, hopefully Keith's back by the end of the week.
Yeah, he was warming up before the last game. I'm looking you right in your eyes.
Right.
Okay. I'm not even.
My camera's more fucked up than the Heat's injury report.
Says a bunch. I think, yeah, that's a fair place. I think it's fair and it's realistic. Like if they can hold water, like I think, hovering around 500 is fine. Being within striking distance of 4 is fine. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to look like as that goal is trying to be met.
We can't overreact. Like if they look like shit tonight or tomorrow against the Bucks, like Plant Poppy's asking where's the jersey. I'm gonna give a quick Max Strus update. I went to go order my Max Strus custom.
Strus Bob.
My Strus, my Max Strus jersey from I wanted to get the mashup. I was told it'd be here in 6 weeks. To me, that's unacceptable. Unacceptable.
6 weeks. He could be on a different team.
I'm getting I'm getting a regular old Max Strus Red Road Heat jersey. Should be here next week. So
there you go.
That's 6 weeks. Ooh, Lord.
Yeah, he might be he might be a pacer by then. What are we talking about?
That jersey might get here after Bam comes back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Depot might be playing by the time I get that jersey.
Yes. BS.
And I'm not going back to the arena. I went back to the arena and then the next week I got sick. I'm scared. Okay.
I was joking. I'm not trying to trade Max Strus, y'all. That was a joke.
Stop it, y'all. In the chat.
I'm not trying to trade my Midwestern boy. No, I'm not trying to do that.
Why does Max get these random doesn't play or plays 5 minutes days?
I was gonna say that.
He didn't play the last game? Did he not play in the fourth?
He played 3 minutes before. Strus had the Dion injury. That is so fucking inside. You got to be Heat beat lifers to get that. Oh man.
The freaking the Wizards back to back played well.
Yeah.
And then DNP the next was I'm sorry, that was Gabe. But the very next game after that, Max DNP for 2 straight games, got 6 minutes last game.
I also think that
that's how you piss dudes off.
Yes.
Well, let's be realistic too. And I go hard for Max Strus.
And you're not going nowhere.
But realistically, he needs to get back on his defensive stance because his defense has really slipped the last couple of games. So let's, he it's been a lot of blow-bys. It's been a lot of silly fouls. So just maybe
terrible closeout.
Yep. So, maybe it's a little bit of that. He's just probably not focused and, whatever. But as you guys were saying, yeah, I think at this point, if you can hit that 4th seed, that 5th seed, that's just what it's going to be. Realistically, they're probably going to look like shit tomorrow. Nothing we can do about that. You play the cards you got. What you want to see is you just want to see people make strides. You want to see Duncan have a productive game. Like, that's what I want to see. You know, you want to see Kyle play good.
Yeah.
And it's going to be what it's going to be. I just feel like they're going to, and it's not a lie, and y'all can take it how y'all want to take it. They're outmatched tomorrow. If Giannis plays, they are outmatched.
They're outmatched
That's just,
if Giannis doesn't play.
I know, but I didn't want to, I was trying to be a little nice about it,
Keep
but,
it real with the people.
right, but they're outmatched.
I put
They're
a poll on
outmatched.
Twitch chat. What happens first? Depot comes back. Depot comes back.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so we'll see what the audience says.
yeah, you just want them to play hard. You want them to play hard and get the wins that they can get. You know, you hope there's some winnable games in the next 6. So I don't know what the schedule bears out to be within the next 6 games, but you just want them to get some winnable wins, and you want them to give effort in the losses. Like, you don't want them going through the motions, because going through the motions builds bad habits.
It gets rough, Tiff.
That's what I've been trying to say.
We got the Bucks tomorrow. We got the Bulls
Okay.
Saturday. We have
Okay.
Cleveland, Philadelphia, Orlando, which is probably the scariest team of all. Then Detroit,
Right, because they don't.
Indiana.
And we got no bigs, and we about to like.
Bucks, Bulls, Cavs,
I don't know.
Sixers.
Is Mo Bamba still there? Wherever Mo Bamba is.
Yes, he is. He's still in Orlando.
Yeah, okay. So
So we're about to see Mo Bamba, Joel, Giannis,
and all the fucking
Vucevic.
forwards on the Cavs.
Mo Bamba's gonna have the biggest game.
Right.
Book it.
Cavs
That Bulls
got
game.
18
That Bulls game
forwards.
also scares me because there's like a little bit of revenge factor there too. But DeMar's not. DeMar's out with in COVID protocols. So
Vucevic didn't play well the first game. We played
and Bam's gonna be out. Poor Deadman.
I'm gonna tell y'all what the Heat need to do. The Heat need to average. The Heat need to honestly play defense, and they need to keep the score within the 80s to 90s.
They need to control the pace.
That's what I'm saying. They need to slow. They need to slow every game to a crawl. They need to make it they need to make it painful for us to watch it. It's so slow.
It already is, Tiff.
No. But I'm saying. But that's why I'm saying you crash. You're crashing the boards. You're sending somebody out just in case. And you guess what? You get the rebound. Everybody go down, walk it.
I think their offense has a better chance of being better than their defense, given the personnel that they have left. I think that
I'm going to disagree. I don't think so.
I don't feel
totally
confident in what I just said.
I think the defense has a better chance of trying
I think the defense has a better. If you look at who we have. We do have defenders.
They just got to play a lot of Duncan and Tyler together, and that just doesn't. Those lineups.
They don't have to. Why do we keep saying they have to play a lot of Duncan and Tyler? They really don't.
If Jimmy's out, they kind of have to.
No, they really like Spo isn't beholden to have to start Tyler. He could start he could start Gabe and Kyle if he wants. Like, this is where you try to figure things out. And guess what? You need somebody that can score on the bench anyway. I would put Tyler back on the bench at this point.
Yeah, I don't know that G was saying like they have to start together.
No,
be like time of them sharing the court.
They're just gonna have to end up together because they just don't have enough bodies, and by coincidence, they're gonna run into each other at the grocery store. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, shit.
Hey, we're not to see you there.
Right.
10 people walk by them, because they can't keep anybody in front of them.
Right.
You know when you're like you're walking at someone and you both like do that weird.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
But I really think they have enough defense to just slow it to a crawl. And guess what? Nobody wants to watch 90s basketball, but I think that's their best bet until they load back up on starters.
Siobhan, that happened to me today at the grocery store, and the dude hit me with a spin move, and I'm like, that's a hooper. Like, we were in the produce lane, and then the dude like kind of spun off the cleanest spin. That should look like Giannis. I was like, oh,
kept going, ain't look back.
G got dunked on in the grapes.
I wish you had seen me. I played ball. I haven't played basketball in so long. I played ball on Saturday. My layups were just. I was a horrible basketball. It was so bad. It was so bad. And
we got the 15th spot.
I was so tired at one point that every time I was on defense and they somebody said a pick, I would just go, I'm gonna drop.
That 15 spot is what the dude that spun on him in front of the bananas.
Absolutely killed me.
Man.
Oh my god.
They just gonna have to weather it.
They are. I really think they need to go old school basketball and just slow it down. I mean, don't nobody want to watch it, but y'all want some wins, right? Hey.
I wanted to end the show real quick. I want your thoughts on this. I thought that flagrant foul on PJ Tucker last game was the most horseshit thing ever. There have been too many soft ass flagrants.
I thought that was a little weak too. I thought that was a little weak. With Steven Adams. You're talking about Steven Adams,
dude,
right?
Come on.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was a little weak.
You know how strong PJ Tucker has to be to push Steven Adams to the ground?
I'm like, Steven Adams totally fucking flopped. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That man could pick up a planet. He's like a Dragon Ball Z character. You're telling me that PJ's fucking 6'4" ass knocked that man over?
It's like a strongman candidate.
Yeah, he is.
That's island strong. Listen.
That's island strong.
Jesus
that's my Kiwi brother right there.
Yes. Shout out to the Kiwi.
I love that dude. I wish there was a place for him on the Heat. He's a fun dude.
Oh man.
We all wish there was a place for him on the Heat.
No, I thought that flagrant was some bull.
Yeah, they've called a lot of weird flagrant fouls that are just the technical. Jimmy Butler's dying on the floor, and he gets up and ends up with a technical foul. I'm like, come on, listen, that's the snowflakeification of society right there. These referees, man.
Just to be, but one thing we're not really thinking about, we're just like, oh, hopefully Jimmy will be back in a week. He's gonna be hurting he's gonna hurt all season.
Just get
there's just that tailbone is just gonna be because he's Jimmy. Jimmy doesn't know.
I do after leg day. I can't pick up my leg. You're.
But he doesn't know. He has one speed.
He's gonna have to.
He has one speed.
He needs a downshift. You need a downshift.
Downshift.
The clutch don't work that way.
That's an electric car right there.
Stupid. You gotta figure it out. Like Depot's ass need to slow turkey. Damn, Jimmy needs to find a cruise control and stick there for a little bit.
Yeah,
but if he gets off the ball, he'll be able to do that.
Exactly.
Get well soon, Jimmy.
Get well soon.
Yeah, some dudes when they get hurt, they're just like, you know what? I'm gonna keep it out. I'm gonna shoot a couple jumpers. I'm not gonna rebound. It's a low rebound day for me. You know what I mean? When I go to pull up the ball, I'm like, low rebound day. Don't expect me to be fighting under there. Jimmy's out here fucking wrestling dudes, trying to get putbacks. I was like, calm down, dog. Stay safe.
You pull up to the court talking about it's gonna be a low rebound day for me.
Right. With his high socks on.
No, because I didn't even have the shoes. So I actually stole. I didn't have basketball shoes.
No,
Alex Toledo of 5 Reasons gave me his LeBrons to wear and play with, and I never gave.
Well, that's why you were tired.
Heavy ass.
Yeah, dude.
You tired by Siobhan, he tired by osmosis.
It's heavy. No, but I didn't even bring them. I didn't expect to play. I just kind of. My friend hit me up. He's like, "Oh, you want a ball?" I was like, "I'm in the area." You
talking about gravity? All this shit weighing at the bottom of his feet. That's your gravity.
And gravity is me. Post COVID, I have my own fucking orbit. I've gained so much weight.